Welcome back, episode 4 of Revisited. This was originally, you're just not in a good place.
I'll perk up.
or you'll descend even further. So this was originally the plan. Our second video was going to be SuperEyePatchWolf's What the Hell Happened to Dragonball GT. But we didn't need to do the DBZ one first, but we felt like we should. And I wanted to put some space between the two, but that's kind of stupid because the reason we did that one was to go, we need to do this before the Dragon Ball GT one. And then we're just going to wait 8 videos for the GT one. It makes no sense. So we're doing a GT one.
Just get it out the way.
Just get it out the way so we can finally move on to something else.
You say that, and then next episode is going to be like, all right, part 5.
So let's just freaking get into it. Yeah, I do want to do one of the part 5.
I want to so badly.
The next one might have to be another part 5. Just to give, it's like giving a little bit of heroin to an addict. Just a smidge. Just to stop the shakes. So let's just get into it. Oops,
I have never hated an anime more than I hated Dragon Ball GT. I can remember sitting down and watching the show in my parents' living room, staring unblinkingly at the screen and just seething.
Maybe blink.
I disagree. Well, I can't disagree with how he felt, but when I watched Dragon Ball GT, I was just like, this isn't good. This isn't as good, but it's whatever.
I didn't feel that way. It's just, but then again, he has that built-in affection and love and reverence for DBZ. So he's just like, it's ruining my DBZ.
But we did too.
Not like that.
Yeah, where it's like, it changed me and
yeah. So that's a big difference.
It was just another product.
But this is just a mediocre show stemming from another mediocre show.
It's just a more mediocre version of a show that people think is really good.
The long-awaited sequel to Dragon Ball Z instead felt like an insult to everything that made the original series great.
Why?
And I'm not alone in that. GT is one of the most reviled anime in existence, with fans of the series bitterly arguing if it's even a canonical part of Dragon Ball.
Pause. It's not.
It's not.
There's no argument there. Just because it has Dragon Ball, just because it has Dragon Ball GT on it, just because it has Akira Toriyama's name in it, doesn't mean it is canon. Because he didn't write it. He just sort of shuffled it off to Toei. And this is different from Super, where it's either all canon or none of it's canon. But at least he put the outlines in it. Goku and Hit fighting, and Goku attaining a new form, or an improved form, or whatever his notes were, that is 100% canon. But everything that happened between that, it's just like, we just need to get to this point. Yeah. So it's all just sort of nebulous. But yeah, it's all canon or none of it's canon. But at least a good portion of it comes from Toriyama's mind.
And you can definitely see that when you look at the manga and the anime, why they're different. But there's so many points that hit like same thing. Mm-hmm. Some things are almost 1-for-1 from the anime to the manga. And, you could say, the manga was influenced by the stuff that happened in the anime. But I will 100% guarantee you the stuff that's going on in the manga right now, if that's what gets adapted next for the continuation of the Super anime, we will see very similar parts. Mm-hmm. So, it's because it's penned by Toriyama. This was not. It is not canon.
Point blank, period.
That's just...
There's literally no argument here. So, unless you don't understand canon.
And the reason it's reviled is a bunch of man babies crying that it ruined something they thought was awesome. Like, we man baby about Jinbei.
Absolutely. But it's also like, Goku was awesome, and then he got turned into a kid. But then you got adult Trunks, but he's not future Trunks, so he's not cool. So you got this little girl, and this isn't my Dragon Ball.
And Pan was awesome.
I love Pan.
And so today, a decade and a half later, I want to return to GT and ask, what was it about that show that made me feel so angry, and were those feelings justified? I'm going to try and not come across like the unhinged Dragon Ball Z fanboy this intro has undoubtedly made me sound like, but the chances of me failing in that are, well, high. If I was to break down the core appeal of Dragon Ball Z into the fewest words possible, it would be growth through struggle.
Oh man, you. It's like he's looking at a mouse and going, that's the scientific name for mouse. Like, no, that's a mouse. You're looking way too deep into this. It's a fight show and you know it.
On top of that, many of the main characters don't grow because of struggle. They grow because they got a blast blasted through them and they got healed. Where's the struggle?
What? Okay, Goku trains on his way to Namek. Goes there, beats up the Ginyu Force, switch body, beat up the pod that heals him, comes out 100 times stronger. Where's the growth through struggle? And then that allows him to beat the Galactic Tyrant. Because we don't know if there's an actual threshold for Super Saiyan, but let's say he was a Super Saiyan.
We discussed this.
We did. But, did we ever come to a conclusion?
Yes, because remember the Namekian Book of Legend? There was a... Yeah, let me spell this out for you real quick.
Oh my goodness, I'm turning to dust.
The Namekian Book of Legend was talking about the Saiyan Yamoshi and how he was able to become a Super Saiyan. But then we talked about how Vegeta was saying like an elite of the elite of all Saiyans, and he was like 27,000 power level. So there's no way that dude could be more than like a 12,000, and he turned into a Super Saiyan. So
no. But no. I remember because also then we went. We looked up the wiki.
Yes, there were two different legends. I understand.
Yo, he was actually a Super Saiyan God.
But then there were two, because it was like the Namekian elder sympathizing with the emotion, and then the legend just became God. But then he was actually a Super Saiyan God in another Namekian Book of Legend, or another interpretation of it. But then
another interpretation of it.
But then we also talked about Goten, how he couldn't even fly, but he was a Super Saiyan.
Okay, so let's say that there's no threshold for Super Saiyan.
Can't be.
And he turns into a Super Saiyan after he fights Berter and Jace, and then Frieza comes, kills, and then he's just a Super Saiyan. He wouldn't be anywhere near as strong, so he couldn't, even as a Super Saiyan at that point, he couldn't beat Frieza. So he would have to get injured and have to level up before he could have a chance of turning into Super Saiyan and having enough strength to fight Frieza. So there is no growth through struggle there.
There's even more evidence of him not being able to beat Frieza before he went into the pod, because after the pod, he leveled up. Let's say even just 3 times what his strength was. His 180k became 600k. He hits... It can't be, because he was going toe-to-toe with Frieza, who had already hit 1,000,000 in his second form. So let's just say that his 180k, he instantly became 20 times stronger thanks to his Zenkai. He does 20 times Kaioken, and he still couldn't touch Frieza. So 20 times his strength was still not enough. So him going Super Saiyan 50 times and not the 20 times, he would have been killed.
Done. So where's the growth through struggle there?
Dragon Ball Z is at its heart a story about trying your hardest in the face of the impossible and using that hardship to surpass what you are and becoming what you need to be.
What?
I'm going to try and not get too sentimental here, but that was a message that meant a lot to me as a teenager.
Pause. How does, again, this always crumbles in the face of Boo? What did Goku need to be there? All that is Boo is an obstacle that we need to beat.
What's even worse is Goku was Super Saiyan 3 and said, in that moment, I probably could have beat Boo.
When they were fighting Kid Boo, let's fuse and kill this monster. No, we have to fight separately.
For what reason?
For what reason? He literally just killed everyone on Earth. No, but we have to fight separately. Crushes the earring. It's silly.
And again, what do you mean at the heart of the series that it becomes this? Because the heart of the series was a boy just going on an adventure with a kleptomaniac supermodel, rich supermodel, just going on an adventure. And it was some gags throughout. And then it became, there was some action in there. But even wasn't really a real threat until General Tao. And then it became a numbers series where it's just like your number needs to be higher. So, but again, there are people that are at a threshold that they can never surpass. TN can never surpass a certain plateau as a human. No matter all the time he spends training, he cannot cross that, let's say, 80K threshold. He just cannot.
Hard. So
all his struggle is useless. The only struggles that matter are the struggles of these aliens. And even Piccolo's struggle is he mostly meditates. He trained with God one time, but his strongest power-ups are through absorbing people.
Where's the growth through struggle there?
He flew by Nail. Nail said, absorb me. He absorbed him and he went, wow, I'm so strong now. He went to Kami and said, this is a threat. We need to join back together. You got it.
So much struggle.
What struggle?
A teenager who had no real idea how to read people and felt disconnected from everyone.
Oh, maybe you should read part 5.
But those problems faded when watching Dragon Ball and seeing the characters of Z continuously fight against odds that felt not just overwhelming, but insurmountable.
Okay. This guy, Dragon Ball saved him.
Yeah, that's all it is. So
it saved him. So that's why he has such an appreciation for the series. We weren't saved by Dragon Ball, so we don't have that appreciation for it. I understand people sometimes need things, and it can get them out of some dark places. The Opie Anthony show was a terrible show. I don't mean terrible as in it wasn't good. It was fantastic. But it was a terrible show. They made fun of people. It was a lot of racism, a lot of misogyny, blah, blah, blah. But there are people that it got me through the darkest times of my life. If you need that, that's all well and good.
But at a certain point, you should open your eyes.
Mm-hmm. I loved the Opie Anthony show. Going back, Opie was trash. And I see that now. I can see it now.
And it contextualized the idea for me that struggle did not mean defeat. That hardship could push you to greater things in a way that honestly helped me through some of the most difficult times of my entire life, and oh god, I have failed entirely at the opening statement of this paragraph. And I'm not alone in that. There's a reason Dragon Ball Z meant so much to so many, and even to this day, when there's hundreds of...
You can't implant that on other people.
I'm sure there are absolutely people out there that feel the same.
But him going, this is there's a reason why Dragon Ball is still so revered even with 100 other anime. You can't implant that on people. Some people, and a good number of people, just go, I watched it when I was a kid. I still have those feelings of good fight, man. Fight, punch, good. I can't imagine there's more than 25% of the fan base that feel like you.
That's even that number's high.
Because as I was watching Dragon Ball, I've never went struggle through hardship or anything like that.
And looking back, sitting there, I can see now, no, that's not the case.
And I was always just sitting there going, good fight. How they gonna beat this person? Oh, good level up, power up, good fight, good fight. That's my entire mindset.
Gohan was only awesome twice. And
don't let people hear me say that. Oh man, them Gohan hands are ooh.
Those 2 times were Teen Gohan and Ultimate Gohan.
When he all of a sudden just became the strongest.
Yes, that's when he was awesome. You know when Gohan was actually awesome? When he was in high school.
And he actually had a character, as opposed to him just being so arrogant out of nowhere.
Twice!
Again, that second time, it should not have happened. That was the dumbest thing. Because this dude is a legit scholar. He's a smart person. He saw the things that he wrought when he let Cell do what he want.
His father still isn't there because of him.
But then he just goes and does the exact same thing.
Different shonen anime all working from the same template laid out by DBZ. While I can think of a handful that I consider better stories, I can't think of any that more successfully capture those core themes of hardship and progression.
Are you freaking serious?
Core themes of hardship and progression.
Rock Lee is more hardships and progression than anybody in Dragon Ball.
His one flashback is better than all of Dragon Ball.
What are you talking? And Naruto is a trash series. Don't get me started on One Piece. All the hardships, Brook.
Because we see Trunks and Vegeta go into the hyperbolic time chamber. We see one flashback that may or may not be canon, but we see one flashback and they come out and they're both stronger than Cell. We saw none of this. We just said they went in that room and they came out stronger. Hardship progression.
Dude, what are you talking about?
And you're already stronger than you. Both of them could have killed Cell at that moment. Goku at that time goes, oh, look at his bulky form. I'm doing the same thing as Trunks. He could have instant transmissioned out of there and beat Cell. We have 3 people confirmed to beat Cell because they walked into a room and did push-ups. Hardship and progression.
And on top of that, where's the hardships?
Where?
Are you talking about the hardships of battle? Because that's any manga with battle. Are you talking about the hardships? No, I can't, because the characters don't face hardships like that. Not like One Piece.
And again, progression. What do we see of them training? We see of them doing punches and kicks against either let's say a hologram. I forget what it's called. What's that thing called?
Which one?
Not a hologram, but
an
image of themselves.
After
image of themselves. Or we see like Goku doing blasts and punches and kicks, and all of a sudden he's super, super stronger. You look at One Piece, Zoro, he fights with sword, so he's sword training. Nami, she's doing her weather training. Brook, he's getting in tune with his soul, thus making his soul power stronger. You can see the progression there as opposed to them doing push-ups, sit-ups, punches in the air, and blasting themselves with blasts. Because that's all Goku did on his way to Namek. And he got literally 100 times stronger.
How much hardship and progression is there compared to My Hero, which started up, 6 years ago? 5 years ago? 4 years ago? They have a lot of hardships and progression in that series. You can't say no series has ever matched the themes of hardships and progression. For you, maybe? And I would hope that once we hit play, he doesn't say, for me at least. Because this would make this whole diatribe just worthless. But even still, yeah.
Watching My Hero, this dude went from breaking every bone in his body to just going, I can't do that every time. And then going, I'll sacrifice my finger. And then him going, I can't even do that anymore. So I gotta fight smarter. I gotta be better. And he did that in less than 200 chapters. As opposed to Goku punch, kick, in heavy gravity, and then coming going, I'm 100 times stronger.
I bring all this up because I think it's important to understand the emotional connection fans had with Dragon Ball and how that created expectation for GT. GT was set 10 years.
The emotional expectation for Dragon Ball you have expectation going to every single fight, every single episode, every single arc. Going from Cell to Boo, you have that expectation. It's not just because going into GT. Every single One Piece arc, I'm like, this is One Piece. I know the level of quality that I am accustomed to
And that you expect.
and that I expect. And if I don't get it, I'm going to be disappointed. So it's not just going from Dragon Ball to GT, because Dragon Ball is not just some one nebulous blob of good like you're speaking of it as. It is, even although I believe it's all bad, it's various levels of bad.
I don't think it's all bad.
As a whole, looking at the words Dragon Ball, my mindset is bad.
Okay. Looking at the words
Dragon Ball Z. Let's go Dragon Ball Z.
Looking at the words Dragon Ball Z, I can't say my mindset is bad because I think at least half of it was good or mediocre at worst. Saiyan Saga, there's no way I can say that's anything lower than mediocre.
Mm-hmm.
I personally think it's good. Namek, there's no way I can say any of that is less than mediocre. Mm-hmm. After that, you can make an argument. Boo is legitimately just straight up bad.
I'm going bad. I'm going a hard 4, 3 maybe.
6.5 series.
3. I'm going like a 3, high 4 maybe. Because there's way too much bad. There's way too much.
I understand.
There's not enough good.
I will say
the
this.
absence of good that's the problem.
Yeah,
mediocre.
There's some way absence of good.
Mediocre is whatever, but it's the absence of good.
That's, you know what? You're right. It's not good. And the absence of good, compared especially to its popularity, is shocking. When you look at TV shows and you go, the absence of good, nobody is like championing it as a fantastic series. Everybody can look at the final season of Dexter and go, holy, that was terrible. 80% of the people go, the final season of Dexter is not good. And this is coming from staunch Dexter fans. You can't look at Dragon Ball Z as a whole and just go, it was a great series.
You cannot.
The final episode of Dragon Ball Z and starts immediately with a wayward Dragon Ball wish transforming Goku back into the body of a small child. And this presents a major problem for GT in regards to the fans who had already fallen in love with Z. From the first time Goku had fired a Kamehameha to the final Majin Buu obliterating Spirit Bomb, progression had always been a huge part of Goku's character. And if
that's a huge part of everybody's character. Nobody stays still. Every shonen hero, shonen rival, shonen side character, everybody has progression. Even in something of a sports manga like Slam Dunk, the dude goes from not knowing the fundamentals of basketball to being able to run plays. He didn't know how to shoot a free throw. And he had to do this underhanded thing. And everybody's laughing at him, but he's making his free throws. That's his progression throughout, from day 1 to day 472. Progressed. It's not a huge part of Goku's character. It's a huge part of a character.
if you had been watching Dragon Ball Z from an early age, chances are you had kind of grown up with Goku.
Jesus.
Battle through battle, you had watched...
Goku was already 30 by the time we met him.
There was the growing
I don't care about Goku at that point growing as a person. Because he's already established.
I don't care about growing up with a character. That's meaningless.
When I was 12, by the time I turned 16, 17, Goku was the same. I didn't grow with him. He just got stronger.
His journey of struggle and growth, and by the end of it, it felt like you had taken that journey with him. And that was an experience that meant a lot to people. And so, immediately transforming Goku back...
You're just implanting these feelings onto other people. You can't say, because we are two examples here.
That's some real anecdotal stuff.
That's mad anecdotal. So you're going, the progression is why people didn't like GT, because Goku got turned back into a kid. I'm sure that people go, oh, Goku turned back into a kid, so he's not as strong anymore. People would not say the word progression.
Wouldn't you say he would struggle more as a kid? So wouldn't that make the struggle part even better? Or no, because him just not big strong no more.
Small child felt like a betrayal of that experience. For the first time in the character's history, his progression was halted, and in its
Okay, in the Tournament of Power, people couldn't fly. Are you saying that felt like a betrayal because they couldn't use something that they had progressed and grown and unlocked? No?
And he's still the same Goku. He still got the same mind, still acts the same basically. He can still turn Super Saiyan 3. And we're not given a hard number here, so there's no reason to believe that his Super Saiyan 3 as a kid is not equal to the Super Saiyan kid as an adult.
felt like a transparent attempt to appeal to a much younger audience.
Or how about this? It was an attempt to appeal to the Dragon Ball fans.
The people who wanted an adventure again.
Not just punch fight stuff, an adventure.
Because if we go on an adventure with adult Goku, we need stronger and stronger foes. So all of a sudden it's just like, well, this dude is stronger than Boo. And he's just been out in space. Why? How? What?
But if we go, oh, Goku's a kid again, Pan isn't super strong because she can't even go Super Saiyan. And I doubt Trunks is training like that. We can have an adventure and it not feel like Frieza was the strongest in the universe, but here's this dude that's 17 times stronger than him.
Feeling palpable in the first 16 episodes of GT.
Look how whimsical that scene was in the intro. They look like they're having fun on an adventure.
These look like characters as opposed to fight avatars.
You know what happens in the openings of Super? A bunch of punching and kicking. They're like, wow, look at this world. There's all these giant flowers. And then there's a giant monster behind us. That looks fun. I want to see that place. I don't need to see Goku punch and kick somebody again.
Rather than the long villain-centric arcs of Dragon Ball Z, what we got instead were much shorter, simpler, episodic-style stories that saw Goku, his granddaughter Pan, and Trunks travel from planet to planet in search of the Black Star Dragon Balls.
Sure.
With a lighter, breezier tone that felt much more geared towards young children.
Stop saying young children, because Dragon Ball started out that way.
And is this a problem?
Yes, that's another thing. A lighter and breezier doesn't mean it's more geared toward children. You could say okay, One Piece is way lighter and breezier than something like Bleach. Is it more geared towards children, or is it the same age demographic? Death Note is the same. It's a shonen. It's the same age demographic.
But just be equal. Geared towards children does not automatically equal sign bad. You're not talking about the quality of it. You're just going, it's episodic and it's more silly and more geared towards children. You've not spoken to the quality whatsoever. You're just going, it's not my fight manga. It's not my fight show that I want, that I need.
You know what's a good example of that? Teen Titans. More geared towards children. People hate Titans because it's, edgy adult. Teen Titans Go is amazing, and it's geared towards children, and I laugh every time.
Teen Titans Go versus Teen Titans was amazing.
Freaking
it was super funny.
People love the Powerpuff Girls. It doesn't matter if it's geared towards 7-year-old. There's a bunch of men that love My Little Pony. It's geared towards 8-year-old girls.
But if the quality is there,
who cares?
Who cares? And again, you've not spoken to the quality.
Or lack thereof. It's just lighter, breezier, and more for kids.
Than the intense, violent action of Z. Pan would be kidnapped by a group of alien bees.
That sounds fun! Dude,
that sounds better than androids coming. We must fight androids. Boo here. We must fight Boo. Frieza here. We must fight Frieza.
That sounds fun. And again, I don't like Dragon Ball GT.
No.
But I don't think it's the hot zero people give
I think
it.
it's fine.
I think it's fine. It's worse. It's absolutely worse than Dragon Ball Z. But it's not so much worse that it's just like the worst thing you've ever seen. You're not going from a 10 to a 2.
Because this is also just people trying to imitate a bum. And thus you go, what's the mindset of a bum? Oh, a bum. So they just make stuff worse, but without what is perceived to be the Toriyama charm.
Which I don't know what that is.
I'm just saying what other people
Understandable.
say.
Taking her for their queen, Trunks would wear a dress in order to fool an evil monster, and
Sure.
Goku would become hypnotized by a group of mischievous dancing mercenaries.
How do you overcome that if you can't hot punch your way out of it?
If you can't just go, well, I'm stronger than time now.
That's how I overcome that.
That's how I overcome that. I'm just gonna be stronger than time. Oh, you're doing your time skip? Well, I'm just gonna hop into your time dimension. Okay.
How do we stop ourselves from being hypnotized? Way more interesting than, oh, Goku can just dodge everything now.
And the problem wasn't that these episodes were bad, it was that if you were a teenager who had become invested in the more intense emotional battles of Z,
They're not emotional! What emotion do you elicit from Vegeta versus Super Buu?
They're fighting.
They are fighting. What emotion do you elicit from Piccolo versus 17? They're fighting.
You know what was emotional, or what could have been emotional? Goku saw his mom get turned into an egg and then stepped on. He goes, I'm about to kill this mother. And then it's not brought up again. They just joke fight. When it could have just been... He could have just been joke fighting for a while and then just turned around and just go, okay, serious time now. You killed my mom and this one's for her. And then just blast the shit out of him. And then go, I know you can regenerate. Come back so I can do it again. But he didn't mention it at all. Boo came and he turned around and he starts posing and like, yeah, we're going to beat you, Boo. And then they fuse. What about your mom that you've been thinking about for 2 months while you've been training?
the writing was on the wall. Dragon Ball was no longer for you. This continues.
That doesn't, no. It can be for anybody. If you don't like the, and this is another thing, we didn't get those episodes. So to say Dragon Ball GT, this wasn't for you, Toonami fans did not get those episodes. We got Goku turned into a kid, and we got Baby within like 4 episodes.
And also, Dragon Ball is sort of a parody or a send-up or a mock-up of the Journey to the East, a Chinese story. Was Dragon Ball ever really for us? Because to fully understand it, we gotta understand the Journey to the West. Why is he turning into a monkey? Oh, because he just looked at the moon. Or because the Sun Wukong turned into a monkey. Was Dragon Ball ever really for us? Because it's 2 levels removed. You got Chinese mythology, you got Japanese mythology. Translated into English.
We made it for us. Just like Melee competitive players made Melee for them. Nintendo did not make Melee with, oh, let's make the competitive scene such and such. They just went, here's some stuff that can make it super competitive. And the Melee fans made it for them.
For the entire first quarter of the series until around episode 20, things start to change. The child-friendly adventure stories become less frequent, and more of the episode's runtime are filled with flashy battles that feel reminiscent of the later encounters of Z. Until in episode 22, Goku and crew encounter Baby. And Baby's introduction into the series is significant, as it marks a return to the villain-centered story arcs of Dragon Ball Z. And I want to give credit where it's due here. Even as a teenager, I remember really liking this group of episodes.
Of course,
the scene
you
that
did.
Baby's introduced is actually really well directed and has this thick, ominous sense of dread to it. Baby being a biological weapon created by an extinct alien race who suffered genocide at the hands of the Saiyans. Baby himself, hell-bent on claiming vengeance for his fallen masters, and so travels to Earth, infects the entire population, and in doing so, turns all Goku's past allies against him. And as the series starts to build to the inevitable showdown between Goku and Baby, it's the first time GT starts to elicit those old Dragon Ball feelings. Which is why then it's such a disappointment that the actual fight with Baby is such a letdown. Each major fight in GT follows a very simple formula. Goku and his opponents engage in a back and forth of energy blasts and escalating power levels until Goku defeats the enemy with one of his 3 finishing moves. Which, on the surface, could be used to describe a lot of the fights.
I was just about to
so
say.
what's the difference?
That's why I didn't pause.
Well, one critical thing. Narrative. There was a storyline running through each of the major encounters of Z that went beyond just stopping a bad person from doing a bad thing. Rather, the fights in Z had
Boo. I see you didn't show him. The end of that was literally stop, boo. It started with here come boo.
Isn't that really Frieza too?
Basically, he wanted immortality, and he'd be an even bigger threat.
Stop him.
Stop him.
significance to each character. And this is something I've talked about in one of my other 37 videos on Dragon Ball, but fuck it, I'm gonna do so again and no one can stop me. Take for example one of my favourite fights in Z, Android 18 versus Vegeta. Action-wise, there's not really a whole lot going on in this fight, and visually there's much more interesting encounters in Z. But what makes it special is its place in Vegeta's story. Think about Vegeta's emotional state here. After a lifetime of trying, he's just turned Super Saiyan for the first time, and has used that power to obliterate Android 19 in one of the most vicious curb stompings of the entire series. And in his mind, he's finally achieved everything he's always dreamed of. He's an invincible Super Saiyan and the true legacy to the Saiyan race. And the tension of this fight comes from Vegeta's slow realization that Android 18 is not only as strong as him, but she's actually far more powerful.
Pause. That's the same thing that happened to Frieza.
I was literally about to say
That's
the exact same
exact same thing that happened with Frieza.
That's the exact progression of the Frieza fight. The only difference is he was actually a Super Saiyan this time.
Instead of just thinking that he was.
It's the exact same progression. And it was way worse in that one because Frieza had been controlling him throughout nearly his entire life. And it's like, I'm finally here and I can stop this.
And then it's just, no, you can't.
You're not even close. I'm sorry, Vegeta. Time to kill you.
But here it's just, this is the first time that he's seen her. And it's just, whoop, I gotta fight. Oh man, I'm not strong enough. I thought I was.
So then he looks up at the rain in filler.
And goes, time to jump into a room and get stronger. Progression, struggle.
Conflict ending in a disastrous, humiliating defeat for
Like
the Prince of
Frieza.
Saiyans.
Like
That both
Frieza.
conveys just what a threat the androids are, as well as spiraling Vegeta into a state of intense self-loathing, planting the seed.
Like Final Form Frieza. Planting the seed for...
Okay, self-loathing, where are you getting that from?
Yeah, I don't think that was ever...
I
mean, you could interpret it.
How so? Explain it.
Yeah, I'm not strong enough, but you know what? There's not.
No. Goku pops up one day while Trunks is just looking at Vegeta and goes, "There's a way. There could be a level beyond it." And Vegeta goes, "What? There could be?" And then he just goes.
Yeah. I tried.
The only way I can think of to interpret that is Vegeta when he's looking up the rain thinking, is this all there is to the Saiyans? And if that's the case, that's terrible. Because then he's looking at it like, this is our plateau. I can't get any stronger. Until Goku goes, there could be something beyond it. Vegeta goes, there could be?
Oh, you have no evidence? You're just saying this?
Let's try it then.
For his heel turn that would come later in the Majin Buu saga. And so, even though the actual fighting of this scene is relatively simple...
Can I pause this real quick?
No.
What part of that staring up in the rain is what caused him to turn heel? I thought it was that the proud warrior Vegeta was a family man and this wasn't his life, like you said in that Dragon Ball Z video. When did this loss ever play into it?
That's what I was wondering. Because if he had suffered a humiliating defeat then and just go, I'm weak. But he didn't. He easily beat his opponent. Goku easily beat his. And Gohan is just like, well, he's the weak one. Because if he was as strong as he was back then, he could have beaten Deborah.
The thing that made him really do that is when Goku was going through his fight and Goku did that flash of energy and Vegeta was like, what the did he just do? So while Bobby's taking over his mind, he says he could have fought that off, but he probably thought about that Goku and went, I need my fight with Goku. And this is the only way I'm ever going to get a real fight out of him to see who's better. We can spar all day and night, but neither one of us is putting our all into it. We're going to put our all into it this time so I can prove something to myself. Not, no, I lost Android. To 18 7 years ago, and now I need to be bad to be strong.
What made it compelling was its place in a grander narrative. It was part of Vegeta's story.
And again, Vegeta's your favorite character and it's the one you connected with the most. What about Goku losing to Ginyu? What about that part of his struggle in his story? Oh, it doesn't matter? It's just something that happened?
It's just like Ocean is, where it's just like, oh, look at Jordan being all awesome. And Bruno was there too.
And affected him on a personal level, with each fight and transformation that follows being another chapter in that story. And these are the stories that define the major encounters of Dragon Ball Z. Goku's brutal, torturous battle with the impossible against Frieza that was the culmination of his lifetime of training and every other battle that had brought.
Every battle is a culmination of his lifelong fights and his lifelong of training.
This is correct.
That's how was Frieza? I mean, how was Vegeta not a culmination of his lifelong of fighting and training? How was Raditz? You're just attempting to add this emotional resonance to this. For no reason.
None. You know what's sad? We barely even got into the GT stuff. This video is half over.
To this point, the desperation of which surged him into becoming a Super Saiyan.
It wasn't the desperation of that. It's Krillin dying in front of him. You could say the desperation of it if Frieza came back and he's just looking like, holy, I have to dig deep. But he didn't. It wasn't until Krillin died where he just got mad enough to transform. That has nothing to do with the desperate struggle that happened the past 16 episodes.
You know what? It does if you interpreted it that it does. And he is. So that's all that matters.
Or Gohan's realization that the existence of Cell meant the eradication of all life and that pacifism was no longer an option.
When was it an option before?
Why did it take 16 getting killed when he could turn his head and see all of his friends getting stomped out.
Gohan has seen all these times where he needs to fight. All these times. Frieza, Dende getting killed. He saw he needed to fight. And Krillin getting killed. Saw he needed to fight. Nappa, seeing Piccolo getting killed. He saw he needed to fight. Raditz, seeing he has to fight. This happened over and over and over again. And you're going, finally the realization that pacifism isn't gonna get through to these pieces of...
He turned Super Saiyan when Goku went Imagine Frieza killing everybody that you love. That's how he turned Super Saiyan. But now he needs to realize that now Cell is going to kill everybody that he loves? As he's doing it? He needs to be told?
He still needs to be told about it. Just let it go. Just stop holding on to those feelings and fight.
Gohan sucks.
Gohan sucks.
That epiphany pushing him to a level beyond Super Saiyan. This is what made the fights of Dragon Ball Z matter. And also what makes the fight with Baby...
Super Saiyan 3 comes out of nowhere. Could have killed him. A dumb form that's just stronger. Where's the struggle? Where's the goodness? Where's the working towards it?
Why did the fight between 17 and Piccolo matter?
That's all they had.
Why did it matter? Nothing, huh?
Nothing.
Nobody's
talking about that fight.
Nobody's talking about that fight.
Such a disappointment. There is no personal narrative. Rather,
yes, there is.
Yes, there is. Baby had his whole planet wiped out by Saiyans, and now he's gonna take revenge on the Saiyans.
He's controlling all of Goku's friends and family.
Goku can only go so far, or he's going to kill them.
And the entire planet. That seems a lot more emotional than, oh, Boo crazy and he's just gonna kill. Oh, the androids are just gonna kill everybody on Earth. Well, they're important personally to Trunks, but if Trunks isn't here, they're just two more bad guys.
So the main hero, the hero in the fight, Goku, looks up and sees all his friends looking down on him with malice in their eyes, ready to kill him. And Baby finally is getting revenge for his planet being wiped out. How is this not emotional?
As he's taken the body of Goku's friend and rival.
A Saiyan. Delicious irony.
A Saiyan killed his planet, so now he's using a Saiyan to kill this planet.
We have is a bad guy trying to do a bad thing.
Jesus Christ! What?
It's not happening that way! What are you talking about?
How is that not Vegeta, Raditz, Frieza, androids, Cell? What is Cell's motivation? Fight, get stronger, blow up planet. Boo! That's literally everyone!
But it doesn't.
What is Tao Pai Pai's motivation? He's a bad guy doing bad things!
For money.
What about Piccolo? He's a bad guy doing bad things! The Red Ribbon Army is literally an army of evil people!
Literally, what is the motivation of the android besides kill Goku, kill planet?
Tien, what's his motivation? Yamcha, what was his motivation? Is that every villain in Dragon Ball that I've named? Little blue one. Pilaf, evil person. Garlic Jr., evil person. Ginyu Force, evil people. Broly, Janemba, Turles. We're going into the movies now.
Lord Slug.
What is a villain motivation in Dragon Ball?
If not bad
Baby
person,
has the most motivation.
one of the most I've ever seen.
What are you talking about? He literally has a motivation.
The motivation.
As opposed to Nappa going, I'ma just kill y'all. What are you talking about?
You mad you turned that fan off now?
Man!
It's getting hot.
What? What are you talking about?
Am I missing anybody?
Man!
It's just bad people doing bad things.
Cooler. He was just like, I'm not here for revenge for my brother.
He sucked.
And he got what he deserved. What?
Baby has tremendous motivation. And it's all laid out in these episodes.
Man!
And you're going, it's just a bad person doing bad
What are
people
you
things.
talking about?
And a good guy trying to stop him.
Oh, man!
That is literally every Dragon Ball encounter.
How can you not say that about the androids at the very least?
And who cares?
Who cares?
Because a lot of One Piece are bad people doing bad things, and the Straw Hats trying to stop them. They get their motivation on island most of the time. You know, they meet somebody that they're nice, and it's just like, wow, this island is let's beat this guy and change it. But they don't need this whole worldwide motivation of trying to stop this guy.
Sometimes it's just a butler going, I've had this plan for 7 years. I'm going to kill this girl, make her write a fake will, and then I'll get all the money. And it's not like he's going down to take over the world. No, he's just going to be like, I have money and I don't have to be a pirate anymore.
God is going to sink this floating island, and then he's going to fly to the moon.
That's his motivation.
That's all he wants. Can't allow it. They don't need this world. And again, Baby has some of the most motivation.
Before Frieza found out about the Dragon Balls, which was on in the Saiyan saga, what was his motivation?
Bruh.
Nothing. And now all it is I just want immortality. That's his entire motivation. But this dude, they killed my entire race and I'm this genetically enhanced super being that can take over your people. Saiyan, you are one of 5 Saiyans. This is basically Saiyan planet. I'm getting my revenge on the Saiyans in the best possible way I can. I'm taking over a 100% Saiyan and I'm killing and torturing the other 100% Saiyan. What more do you want?